And here with us now to discuss this further is global affairs analyst Jonathan Wachtel. Welcome, Jonathan.
My pleasure.
So I do want to talk about CIA Director Burns. He's planning to meet with Qatar's foreign minister, among others. But at the same time, there was that leaked audio from Benjamin Netanyahu. He called Qatar's role in this problematic. He said Netanyahu also rejected a proposal that would end military action. Now, do you think his rhetoric is actually hurting negotiations moving forward?
The basic fact is that Qatar has played a role for a very long time, including sponsoring the channel Al Jazeera, which has been, very, very anti-Israel over the decades. It has played a role that has not been particularly helpful for Israel's cause on the world stage. So to be stuck in a situation trying to negotiate the release of Israeli citizens held in tunnels within the Gaza Strip and seeing Qatar, which has been a financial and political sponsor of the Palestinian cause and what's happening in Gaza, and hosts Hamas leaders in its capital, Doha, I can understand where Netanyahu would have a level of frustration. Is it helpful when you're negotiating to start yelling at your opponent? If you have heated rhetoric, it doesn't usually lead to calming down of a situation and being able to engage. So I would think that some of the criticism put on Netanyahu in that regard is also understandable.
Jonathan, let's say you're at the negotiating table. What would you be demanding from these countries?
From Qatar, you mean? I think we've come to a point in which the status quo, which was having an organization, Hamas, is designated as a terrorist organization, to have an organization that literally calls for the destruction of its neighbor is a non-starter. There was nowhere to go from here. And it was this perpetual cycle of violence that would kick up and flare up, in which you would have rockets fired into Israel. The response was deadly. You had a series of invasions by the Israelis trying to put an end to Hamas's ability to strike out. And then October 7th, it was all gloves off. And we are where we are. And, the important thing at this point is a recognition that that status quo is done. And we're seeing what is essentially a totally shifting situation on the ground.
Sure.
Where it ends up is the big question.
Jonathan, I have less than a minute, but I do want to talk to you about reports that Putin is ready to end the war in Ukraine. What do you think the likelihood of that is?
Unlikely, as long as he feels that he continue to hold on to territory and try to exert more pressure on the Ukrainians. It's pretty amazing that this war has gone on as long as it has. It's not surprising, but it just shows the military ability of the Russians to both continue to get the weapons and to throw soldiers at this and allow that blood loss, which is atrocious. If you look at the numbers, hundreds of thousands of people have died here. It'll continue.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.